Listen up, real estate investors, entrepreneurs, and agents. You're in the right place, unlocking the secrets to real estate investing and entrepreneurship. Welcome to the Titanium Vault, hosted by RJ Bates III. Here's RJ.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Titanium Vault. I'm your host, RJ Bates. Today, I'm sitting down with my good buddy from the Aloha State, Cory Nemoto. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How's it going, RJ?
Oh man, I would say just another day in paradise, but you're actually in paradise, and I'm sitting here in Fort Worth, Texas. Not quite as paradise like.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta say, it's not bad living.
Yeah, you're living the good life.
Right. Yeah.
So why don't you take a second to kind of introduce yourself and tell everybody what it is you do in real estate investing?
Sure. So yeah, my name is Cory Nemoto. I mainly flip houses here in Hawaii and also in the Seattle area, the greater Seattle area. And currently right now we have about 14 projects going on, and about 4 on market. And we just sold one of our duplexes out in Seattle. And actually, I just got an email right before we started. I don't know if you saw it, RJ, but we just closed on our deal out in Kailua, me and you, right? So
hey,
first
that's
one,
cool.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we, thanks again, man, for wholesaling that one. That's gonna be an awesome project. And also congratulations on selling your our project is like right across the street, you know. So
I know, man. It's so funny. You're like the third or fourth person that's reached out to me, and they're like, "Hey, thanks for setting the comps high in the neighborhood." I'm like,
yeah, dude.
I guess those are kind of our intentions, but
yeah, and it was a very nice renovation you guys did. I mean, my realtor Ashley, she sells for us, right? And she's like, "You got to go check out that house down the road, you know, you guys got to do it like that." Like, so I was like, okay. I always get
hilarious.
so.
Yeah, so Elijah did a great job out there. For you guys that don't know Elijah De La Garza, he's my partner out in Hawaii, and he's in charge of all the rehabs and stuff. He knocked that one out of the park. Probably a little bit too much. I think we probably could have gotten away with a little bit less, but you know, he loves to pretend like he's playing a little bit of HGTV. I give him a hard time about it. So, but yeah, man,
awesome. Yeah,
I appreciate that. So let's go back to your start. How did you get into real estate investing?
Oh yeah. So I got into real estate investing. I kind of just stumbled into it, to be honest. I knew nothing about real estate. I started from the very, very bottom. And you know, I was in my final year in college. You know, I was living in Riverside, California at the time, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. You know, it was kind of getting to a point where I was getting kind of scared because I'm about to graduate with a degree, you know, in exercise science and marketing, and pretty much did not want to do that. So I was like thousands of dollars in debt, and, you know, kind of scratching my head thinking like, is this what my life's gonna be? You know, and so you know, my dad I think he sensed I had the entrepreneur spirit a long time ago, because I did have like an internet marketing business. I had an email marketing business, and I would always dabble into things here and there. And so he was telling me to read Rich Dad Poor Dad from Robert Kiyosaki for a long time. Yeah. And it took me a while until like my final year in college to actually pick it up. And I read that thing. I swear I might have read it in like 2 days, you know, and like I probably would have read it in 1 day if I just, you know, if I had it wasn't being pulled from school or something. But every word in that book kind of just spoke to me, you know, and it kind of opened my eyes and gave me a sense of relief that it's okay to feel like you don't want to work for the rest of your life, you know, because I felt a little bit of shame because I grew up in a traditional household where everybody gets a 9 to 5, you know, and works and saves for retirement, and hopefully you have enough to get you to the end.
Right.
And I didn't want to do that. You know, I'm not a lazy guy. You know, I'm a hard worker. I'm very driven. I'm ambitious. But when I had that feeling, I felt shame. I was like, oh, I feel lazy. I don't want to do this. I want to work. But when I read the book, it opened my eyes. Like, okay, my feelings are not wrong. Like it's not wrong to feel that you want something more, and so I read the book, and it's a business book, right? Rich Dad Poor Dad, but he talks a lot about investing in real estate. And so I think in the book, he recommends going to the local meetup groups. So I went there, met a couple guys, and they asked if I wanted to get in, if I wanted to learn. And I was like, absolutely, and I'm an introvert, and I'm the guy that sits in the back, and I don't talk to nobody. And, they approached me, so I talked to them, and I told them, yeah, I'll do anything, I'll do anything to make it and learn. And so they got back to me, and they wanted me to, meet with them, and I met with them. And they basically told me that, I'd be door knocking for them, and that the first guy that I talked to, he was kind of laid it out straight for me. Like, look, if you're not in this for the right reasons, you're not going to make it, you know, and you might as well just turn around right now, because what you're going to be doing is not pleasant, and if you don't got it in you, and if you're not doing it for the right reasons, you're going to quit. Right. And though his words stuck in my head, and I'm very glad he was hard on me on the first meeting, because he was right. He was 100% right, because I door knocked for them for a year, and it was brutal.
Yeah. Door knocking is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, and I've done it for two different industries. I've done it in the roofing industry and done it in real estate, and man, you can only handle so many times where the door gets slammed in your face, but it's a beautiful thing when you find either a motivated seller or a client, and there's nothing more exhilarating than that moment when they're like, absolutely, I want to sell my house.
Oh yeah. I agree with that 100%, because like, for the 100 no's that you get, or the thousands of rejections, like that one person that you help, it's so fulfilling. Yeah. Like our work is so fulfilling. Like we touch so many lives in what we do. And that's why like I gravitated towards real estate as well, is because I had an email marketing business. It was doing well, and but I didn't have that connection, the face-to-face. I wasn't cutting deals face-to-face with people like we are now, and I was just crunching numbers and looking at metrics on a screen. And I was providing a service, but I don't know what that service is doing for somebody. Whereas now, we employ hundreds of people, in different states. Yeah. And one project affects so many professions, from realtors to escrow agents to termite inspectors, like appraisers.
Dude, I'm so glad you brought that up, man. One time, it was a year ago in like a couple of weeks, because I just got the Facebook memory notification. Right. And we sold a house. We contracted it, did the rehab, put it on the market, and we're under contract in 15 days. Wow. Okay. So it was one of the quickest deals that I've ever done. And when we contracted it, I had this thought where I was like, in 15 days, the amount of people's lives that we impacted with this one property. And so I wrote a post where it was like, I helped this realtor move this house. I helped this seller. This title company closed it. This lender loaned me money. This carpet guy did carpet. This painter. And I went through every single person that was a part of that one property in those 15 days. Right. And by the end of it, I was like, holy cow, it was like 37 different companies. And like you're saying, man, I mean, what we do has such an impact on so many different people's lives. And that is just so exhilarating to me. I'm like, I just want to do it more and more and more, because, just to see the smiles on people's faces and how you're changing their lives, from this seller who is staring at foreclosure, and then her credit's fixed and she can immediately turn around and go get another house, to even the carpet guy, he's just excited that you gave him a job and he didn't even have to work for it. It's just, Nothing better than that feeling. So I'm glad you brought that up, because not many people think about how many lives we're actually impacting, you know?
Oh yeah, and it's it's so fulfilling, and I'm proud of what we do, right? And as investors, sometimes we get the reputation that we're just in it for the money and
Right.
we're sharks, you know what I mean? And that's true. I mean, there's investors out there that's just in it for the money, and they'll take advantage of people if they can, but not the investors and the people in my circle, and I'm sure your circle. You know,
Right.
you know, I see how you run your company, and it inspires me. You know, and I I think like the what we do is so important, because even though we're like, you know, we do, you know, one house at a time and stuff, we're not big time developers, you know, yet, but like we still make such a difference, because especially like, let's say in a market here, like here in Hawaii, where the inventory is so low, right, and the cost of living is so high, that, you know, there's houses out there, there's hundreds of them sitting, you know, vacant for like 10 years and just taking up space. You know, they're dump sites right now, and it takes like guys like us to come in, dump hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know, millions sometimes, and to bring that property back to life, you know, put it back on the market and back in circulation. You know, it's just one more house, but it's going to serve another family, right? And
absolutely,
in that process, we employ, like you said, so many people. That, you know, like, so that money that we put our lives on the line for that money, you know, we sign on the line for that money, and we take the risk, we dump it into that project to bring it back to life, put it back on the market to serve somebody. And while we're doing that, we employ hundreds of people. You know, I don't know another profession that's more fulfilling. I mean, I'm sure like being like a heart surgeon or something, right? Is, right? Like if you're saving lives, I mean, like that's another story. Like I got props for those, you know, those guys.
Right.
You know,
but you know what, man, you bring up a good point. Like in a market like Hawaii, because I'm here in Texas and we have our branch in Hawaii, everybody wants to talk to me about it. You know, now it's and we have our branch in Alaska. Everybody's like, "Oh man, you're the guy that's in Hawaii and Alaska. What's that like?" And you know, everybody thinks of Hawaii as like this beautiful place, and it is. But I have to tell people, I'm like, look, here's the thing: Hawaii as a whole is beautiful. The landscape is beautiful. The real estate is not beautiful. Like, y'all need to understand something. There is a lot of real estate that is extremely distressed in Hawaii. And what we are doing is improving that. Like, we actually, the pride that I take in saying that we are improving the community, where, and I tell people, I'm like, honestly, I've talked to people from Hawaii, and it's just not a priority to them. They live in paradise. The real estate is not like something that they're going to take the pride in, but they are. What we're seeing is that we're improving it. There's like you said, there's property sitting vacant for 10 years. Like we have one of those on Lilipuna Road under contract. We've had it under contract. It's been vacant for 10 years, and it's this beautiful property looking over the bay, you know, and it's like just amazing views. I'm like, this thing should be like a castle, you know, like that someone should take so much pride in this, and it's just sitting there, you know. And it's like, you're absolutely right. It takes people like us that go in, and because Hawaii is a high price market, we're taking very large risk to take care of this. But I tell people all the time, I'm like, you know, I tell them about that part of Hawaii, and I'm like, the other part of Hawaii is everybody truly embraces the Aloha Spirit. And I'm like, I tell that to people here in Texas, and they kind of laugh at me. They're like, oh yeah, the Aloha Spirit. Well, what is that? And I'm like, you just have to go there and experience and actually do business with people. And I'm like, you know, you referenced at the beginning of this that, you know, I just wholesaled your property. I was in Utah when you went into title and you signed the documents, and you tagged me in a post, and I was like, you see this right here? I have wholesaled hundreds of properties. Here's a guy in Hawaii. He's so excited. He's ready to do business with me. He's tagging me in a post, thanking me, even though he knows I made money on this deal. Whereas you don't see that in other markets. That's the the Aloha Spirit. That's kind of what the Hawaiian culture is about, you know. And I mean, is that something that's like in the forefront of your mind, or is that because I'm coming from the outside in, or is that just something you've always grown up knowing?
I mean, yeah, I feel that there is truth to that, to the Aloha Spirit here, you know, and because on the island, you know, if you find out someone else is from Hawaii in the mainland, you know, you kind of have that, you know, connection, you know, because we all grow up on this island that's pretty small, you
Right.
know. I mean, it's highly populated, but it's pretty small, and we all share the same you know, beauty here, you know. So and I feel that there is truth to that, you know. There is the Aloha Spirit, and of course, you know, there's good and bad people everywhere, you know.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like I appreciate, you know, and it's a great deal that you guys wholesale to us, and it's an awesome opportunity, you know, for me, and so I'm very grateful for it, you know.
Well,
And
you
I'm
know,
not
one of the things that's pretty unique about the Hawaiian real estate market is that a lot of properties are paid off and they're passed down generation to generation. So
Mhm,
the property that I wholesaled to you, there was a death in the family and it was passed down. Well,
mhm,
those people don't live in Hawaii. They live over. I think the person that I talked to lived in North Carolina. You know, and
mhm.
what we're seeing is a lot of times there's properties passed down to the kids in North Carolina, and they're like, we own property in Hawaii. That's not a terrible thing to have, but we're in North Carolina, so what are we going to do with it? You know, and that's how those properties end up sitting for so long, you know, and helping people out in that situation. I mean, literally those people, when I talked to them, Cory, I mean, they were like, you're willing to buy this? Like they could not believe it, you know. And for us, we're looking at that as like this is a great property. Like that's an ideal location, that neighborhood. They
Right.
could not believe that somebody was willing to pay for it, you know. And so it's
Yeah.
just it's such a unique state market. Everything about it is different than anywhere else in the country. I mean, you're also doing stuff in Seattle, Washington. What are some of the big differences that you see between Hawaii and Washington? Do you see a lot of differences?
Price point markets. Oh yeah, sorry, I think it got cut off. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. The yeah, they're 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 very similar markets. To be
Okay.
honest, yeah, they're very similar, and they're high price point markets, very competitive. I mean, obviously the difference is the weather, right? Over here in Hawaii, we have jealousy windows. That's very common, you know, and you can't have jealousy windows in Seattle. You'll die, right?
Right.
So, like, that there's a bunch of stuff that we have to kind of learn. And my business partner Kekoa is manning the ship up there and running everything. And you know, we tag team. You know, I help him when he needs help, and he helps me down here when I need help. And but the major things is kind of just getting used to the numbers, in a sense of what it costs to renovate, or you know, make a, you know, fireplace, you know, fix a fireplace or something like that,
Right.
because we don't get any of that down here. Right? And so a lot of times we don't even insulate our houses here because it's not really necessary, you
Right.
know. And a lot of it is single wall construction, you know,
A
which we
lot.
do.
A lot of
Yeah,
single wall construction.
a lot of single wall construction. And you know, sometimes we convert it to double wall, and sometimes we leave it depending on, you know what the market is demanding in that
Right.
area. But in the grand scheme of things, like numbers wise, it's very similar. And I think just Seattle is a little bit more subject to the ups and the downs, you know.
Yeah.
And Hawaii, I feel we're shielded a bit because we are on an island, so the inventory is low. There's limited land, so there's going to be constant demand, right? And you know, it's a international market. I mean, there's buyers from all over that want a piece of Hawaii. You
Yep.
know, like foreign buyers, you know, from Australia, Korea, Japan, China, everywhere, Canada. So there'll always be the demand here, you know. And to be honest, I think a big factor too is the city. They're so slow with spitting out permits
Yep.
that developers don't want to come here.
Yeah.
and it only guys like, crazy guys like us, come roll the dice, and luckily we know what we're doing, and
Right.
but that's why like we do play an important role. I feel, even though we do like, maybe a dozen, maybe maybe 7 projects at a time or whatever it is, like we're making a dent, I think we're helping a lot. We're
Absolutely.
definitely helping the local economy, right? Like all
Yep.
the local guys over here get employed, and we pay well. So but I think our market's shielded a little bit, Hawaii rather than Seattle. Seattle is more subject to the booms and the busts, because we just saw a big pullback actually in the last 6 months. The market pulled back quite a bit,
Really.
but since then it's bounced back, So
Yeah, and I think that was nationwide, really, on the mainland side of things. We didn't really experience it too much in Hawaii or Alaska, but we're seeing that across the board. Here in DFW, for those that don't know what that is, Dallas Fort Worth, Texas. Um, I was a little bit freaked out because we've been one of the hottest cities in the country, and our inventory was just kind of sitting. And I was kind of joking. I was talking to my partner Cassie here in Dallas, and she's also the realtor. We listed a property, and it had been on the market for like 10 days, and we didn't have an offer. And I was like freaking out, like, what's going on? Did we overprice it? And she's like, it is only 10 days. Like in other markets,
Right.
that's pretty normal. But that was like a freak out moment because we're just used to like, hey, we're going to list this on Thursday. We're going to have an open house on Saturday. And by Sunday, we're contracted. Like that was the flow of what was going on here. And we did feel a pullback. We had some property sit for 60, 90 days. But we're definitely starting to see in the past 30, 45 days where things are getting back to where they're moving pretty quick. So I think I don't know if there was like concern or a little small correction across the country or whatever, but, I definitely saw that across the board. And, not just here in DFW, but also Phoenix. We saw it in a couple of other of our markets. So it's interesting to see how the different markets kind of impact each other and kind of take on personalities a little bit. So you talk about Seattle. How did you guys end up there? Is that because your partner lives there, or how did you choose Seattle and Hawaii?
Yeah, part of the main reason is because my partner has been living there for the last couple of years. He moved, him and his family, and so that was the main reason, because he would be on the ground there.
Gotcha.
But it was, Seattle is an equity market too, right? But there's surrounding neighborhoods that we can buy portfolio homes to hold, for nice cash flow.
Nice.
So that's a big reason. It's like you can kind of get the best of both worlds, out there. Whereas Hawaii is strictly equity market. It's not a cash flow, it's not a cash flow market at all. So and so it on the ground there, and it is a market that's attractive for equity and cash flow.
Cool. So you're mainly flipping in Hawaii, you're flipping in Seattle, and then you also have some buy and holds in the Washington market. Are you doing any wholesaling at all?
Yeah, so we've wholesaled a few last year, and when I first started, like I just wanted to wholesale.
Right.
Like I kind of just fell into flipping houses too, and because wholesaling is awesome. You
Right,
get
exactly.
you pay faster, there's less risk, and you can scale it.
Yeah.
It's very hard to scale a house flipping company. That's why I have a lot of respect for you, dude. Like you're in multiple markets, like doing this, like that's insane.
Well,
Like,
there's a lot of room for improvement there, because you're right, man. I mean, scaling a rehab business is it's almost as hard as scaling like a contracting business. I mean, you are essentially a contracting business. It's just for yourself, and there's a lot of moving parts there. It's difficult. So I appreciate the respect there, but I don't know, man. I think you're doing a little bit better of a job than we are.
No, man. Yeah, we have hurdles in any business, in any
Right.
industry, right? Like it's part of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So like, but no, I take a lot of inspiration from you, and I like for us too. I mean, we have a lot of room to improve, and we will, and that's the thing, is constant progress, right? And we are kind of shifting our business a little bit to maybe focus more on lead generation, wholesaling, because we are vertically integrating our company. We're going to be kind of focusing more on the process throughout the entire stage of a rehab. So, we'll wholesale a deal, but we own the construction company in Seattle. We own the brokerage. We're going to be starting our fund. It'll be that'll be the last leg in what we're trying to build out in Seattle. And, we'll be integrating that into Hawaii too, as we're testing it. Nice. So we'll focus more on, wholesaling the deal, but also offering the construction crew to do it if the investor needs. Nice. And then we'll offer the primary financing, and then we'll offer to list it on the back if they want, and basically, and we know, because we're investors, that's what we do too, right? So we'll be there kind of every step of the way if they need.
You're basically a turn.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And the reason why we're doing that is just because it's not like we're burnt out in flipping houses, because I love flipping houses. I'll always flip houses, I think, just for the fun of it,
Right.
Yeah, but we want to build something that's a little bit more of us working on the business instead of inside, right? And right now, we're working inside the business. We're putting the right people in place so that we can step out a little bit and build something that is, something that we can one day maybe possibly sell. Nice. Maybe the construction company, we can sell that. Maybe our fund, we'll look to sell that, or the brokerage. But a house flipping company as a whole, it's hard to build. I haven't met anyone that's actually built a house flipping business that is 100% passive for them, where they can sell it to somebody, right, and somebody can step in and just have it run.
Right. It's pretty hard to have anything proprietary in a house flipping business. I mean, it's kind of up to the operators themselves. I mean, you can have some systems and processes, but at the end of the day, I mean, a lot of it's just going to come down to the management and the people inside it, and making sure you're holding people accountable. There's so many moving parts. Every house is going to be a little. Those other businesses, it's a little bit easier to like set it up where you can say, hey, look, this is pretty turnkey. You can come in here and we've got everything lined up. So you guys are also, y'all are doing a little bit of new construction development, right?
Correct. Yep. Yeah, we're about to get into one out in Makaha on the west side of Hawaii.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's kind of my crown jewel this year.
Yeah, man. So I love Makaha. So let's talk about that a little bit. What does that look like? And for the people that are completely ignorant, kind of explain the dynamic of Makaha on Oahu and what that looks like compared to the rest of the island.
Sure. So Makaha is way out west. We call it the Wild West.
Yeah.
Because it is a market here in Hawaii, on Oahu. It is in Waianae, which is, known to be more of the lower income area. Although, it's being developed, and they have one of the most beautiful beaches out there.
It's amazing.
And the only problem is that it's so far out there.
Right.
Nobody wants to go, and far out there means like maybe an hour drive, right? Like you can't, I mean,
Right.
that's nothing to you guys up there, Texas, right. but in Makaha, it's, lower income, blue collar, neighborhood, but they need housing as well. They need inventory out there. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually very proud of the other investors and developers out there building, because they're doing an amazing job. Like Makaha is turning out to be, very nice. Yeah. And Waianae side, Miley, and it's becoming a very nice area. But it is, higher crime, and, when we have our guys out there, like we're going to have security on site, living at the job site. And just so that, because there's a vulnerable period when you're in a project like that where your resources are kind of out in the open.
Right.
And I hate to be so like,
Paranoid.
yeah, or like kind of judgmental is the wrong word, but
Right.
yeah, I like if this project was in Kailua, I don't know if I'd hire security 24/7, I might just let that, sit over there.
Right.
But Makaha, it is what it is, man. Like,
Yeah, man.
and
Our first two projects in Hawaii were in Waianae, and it was projects we bought off of auction sites, and I didn't know anything about Oahu at the time, and I'm like, hey, Elijah, I found this deal for 192,000, and it's only 1,100 square feet. So I'm like, what are we gonna put into it? Like 30, maybe $40,000. So I'm like, we're all in at 230, 240, and I'm like, the ARV on it's 340, 350. Those are kind of the normal numbers over there in Waianae, and Elijah's like, yeah, but it's in Waianae. That's literally like as far away as I could possibly get from my house.
right,
And I'm like, what the numbers? I'm like, this is actually like a normal like flip.
right.
I'm like, in Hawaii, it's like an average flip like in Kailua or something, you're purchasing for like 600,000-700,000. So I'm looking at this in Waianae, and I'm like, no, you're gonna drive to Waianae. Like this is where we need to be. Like if we're gonna do our first one, we're gonna go start off with like a $300,000 house, not $1 million house. And
Right,
so
yeah.
I love it over there. You're absolutely right. For those that are listening and you don't know, there's a highway that basically circles around the entire island, and it hits these mountain ranges that go into the ocean, and that's basically on the south side of the island. That's where the Waianae is, and so the highway basically dead ends into the beach, and you literally feel like you're at like the edge of the earth. It's like there's nothing there but like mountains and beach, and it's just beautiful. I mean, Elijah took me out there, and I was like, holy cow, you said this is like we were flipping houses in like the worst part of the island, and I'm like, this is like the most beautiful part of the island. What are you talking
Right.
about? So I love Waianae over there, man. And you're absolutely right. There's a lot of new construction and development. They're starting to bring in the newer commercial is moving in. You're starting to see new construction across the board down the main drag there, and it'll be interesting to see what that looks like in like 5 or 6 years.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of interested to see because there's a lot of beachfront property that are very affordable in my opinion in Hawaii's standard, and it's very affordable right now, but it's only a matter of time, especially like they have Aulani out there with the Disney hotel, right? And
Yep.
They're building a lot of big things out there, so it's only going to bring in more people to that side, and it will raise the prices, right? And there will be more demand for that area I'm assuming soon, but it's basic economics.
Yeah. So on the new construction you're doing out there, how many homes are you going to be building?
We're going to be building 6. So 6 brand new single family homes, 4 single story post and pier foundations. They're going to be about 1,800 square feet, little over 1,800 square feet, and 2 story houses out there. And I really feel we can get in and out in under a year, which is usually hard for a development project here in Hawaii because of the permitting and all that. But these lots are already subdivided, so we don't have to go through the CPR process, which I'm sure you're familiar with, right? Yep. Which shaves off a lot of time, right? And we don't have to go through the park dedication process because they're all individual lots. So basically we get permits and we go vertical and we'll pre-sell, out there. So I think we can, if we do it right, this will be a 7-figure payday, net at the end. If we hit our marks and I have the right team. I even got my boy Keone, who's he's from Makaha side, nice. So he has a lot of family out there, so nobody's gonna mess around.
That's how it works out there, man. You get everybody on the island, and then you make sure they look out for you. So two things I want you kind of briefly to touch base on because it's unique to the Hawaiian market. It's more prevalent than anywhere else, and that's the CPR process, and then also talk about ADUs.
Perfect. Yeah, so the CPR process, CPR stands for Condominium Property Regime, and it's common here in Hawaii, where you can take a piece of land and basically divide the land. It's like a subdivision. You can divide the land if it's properly zoned. So let's say if there's a lot, right, that's 10,000 square feet, it has one dwelling on it, one house, and it's zoned R5. So R5 stands for residential, 5, and basically means you can have one dwelling or one structure, one house per 5,000 square feet of land. And so if you have 10,000 square feet on your land, you can have two houses, on paper,
Yep.
On paper, you can have two houses. You can CPR that property and sell two homes instead of just one. But you have to be careful because the CPR process is long, and it can take long. There's different hurdles. Like if you have an easement, like let's say you have 10,000 square feet of R5 land, and you have an easement that takes up 1 square foot on your property, then you actually have 9,999 square feet of R5 land, and you will not get passed. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be careful with that. And whenever you add another structure, you have to check with the planning department to make sure that there's wastewater capacity to add another structure. So just because on paper it looks like you can build two homes at CPR and sell doesn't mean they're going to allow you to do that, And the city does not recognize CPRs. So with that said, it can be an issue sometimes in a CPR, but that's getting a little bit more advanced in what it is. But basically CPR is kind of like a subdivision, but it's more common here in Hawaii. And basically if you're 8 houses or less, you can go the CPR route. If you're going to do more than 8 houses, then they'll probably make you go into the subdivision process, which right. From I've never done a subdivision, but from what I hear, it can be a lot longer and costly. So
I always just thought it was so funny when we first started getting deals and leads over there, and even other wholesalers were sending us properties, and it's like they're sending us deals at like market value, and they're like, yeah, but you can CPR it and you can build 2 more houses. And I'm like looking at the pictures and I'm like, where are 2 more houses going to go? Like, I don't understand this. And it's like, no, it's just very common. Like everybody does it over here in Hawaii. And I'm like, I just don't understand how this process works. So once I was there, you can see it in person. It's like, okay, I can kind of see how this would work, but it is very interesting. I saw one and it was over in Waianae that a buddy of ours had done. And it's literally like there was a house right in the middle, and they went and did the CPR, and somehow they put 3 more houses like surrounding it, and they put a little driveway right down the middle, and it's like boom, boom, boom. There you go. That's how we made it. And it's like it's a very interesting way that you guys have found a way to utilize the lack of land. I mean, it's an island. I mean, it's like you only have so much land, and there's a lot of mountain range there too. So it's like you really have to get creative on how you're going to do new development sometimes. Right.
Yeah. And actually, we're very fortunate to have CPRs be common here, because we do need to maximize the land here. Yep. And obviously develop, responsibly. But the CPR process has helped a lot of investors, and I know investors who only focus on CPRs because they know that they can make a lot off those projects, and so you can get very wealthy if you master that. If you master CPRs here in Hawaii, and ground up construction, oh man, you can make a lot of money.
Like you said, those are the 7-figure paydays. I mean, if you can figure it out, I mean, and especially if you buy correctly, like if you find the original homeowner that is motivated and the property is distressed, and you rehab that one and you buy that one at correct numbers, and you add on 2-3 other properties on top of it. Whew, yeah, that's where you made the big payday. So, what is an ADU? That's another big thing that kind of is always thrown out to people. You know, they always throw it out to me where it's like, oh, you can ADU and make it cash flow.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, first of all, like I know exactly what you mean. Like I kind of, it's a pet peeve of mine when people come to me and say like, well, you can CPR and do this, you know, so, and then they're offering you like full price, you know,
or even above market value. Like, oh, because you can CPR this, you should pay $100,000 more than what it's worth. And it's like, no, that's not how this works.
That's not how this works, dude. Yeah, it's like, yeah. So basically, you're telling me that I gotta take all the risk, right?
Exactly.
And so like, no, that's not how it works, you know. And like we always buy with instant appreciation or instant equity, right? Yeah. And then there's forced appreciation, right? Which is second in line, where we take the risk, we dump the money into force the appreciation. Yeah. And then there's, if we get market appreciation at the end, that's cherry on top, that's bonus.
But we don't care. We don't count on that.
We don't count on market appreciation.
It's only if it happens.
Yeah, we want instant appreciation, instant equity, and then we roll the dice for forced appreciation. But if they want us to buy with just forced appreciation, then that's a no-go. You know what I mean? So yeah. But ADU, they're common out here too, right? And I think it's very necessary. It's basically that you can build another structure, right, on the property. And the ADU process, I think they're cleaning it up here, and the city's getting a lot faster. So the difference between a CPR and ADU is you can't sell the ADU separately, right? For the most part. And I believe there's a size limit too. Like it can't be over like 600 square feet.
Yeah, a lot of times it's like very, very small. We're talking about like one bedroom, like little rental units.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so but ADUs can be a very cost efficient way to add value to the property or the project that you're selling, because everybody here, like if you're going to market with a home here in Hawaii, and you can advertise that there's rental income, there's there's space, or there's another unit that you can rent, automatically your property goes high, skyrockets in value, because the buyers know that they can support the weight of the mortgage through renting out a section of the property, right? So ADU can help with that. An
ADU is one way to do it. Another way to do it is even to say you have a 4 or 5 bedroom house, you can take the 4th or 5th bedroom and turn that into like a little studio where you have a bedroom and a little kitchenette and a little, the studio space that could be additional rental income, where a lot of people there, they rent out rooms, not a whole unit itself. So there's a lot of different ways that people kind of get around the high price points to, like you said, to basically just afford the mortgage. It's what they have to do.
Right. Yeah. So like accessory dwelling units, that's what ADU stands for, accessory dwelling unit. They definitely serve a purpose. I know the mayor was pushing really hard to get it passed, so that it can be accepted more. And once he did, I think like the city got bombarded with requests, right? And then they're spitting them out so slow that it kind of put him under pressure. But now I think like he really got cracked down on it, because he was like, it was big news when he made that announcement, and he put all his words behind it, and now he's got to execute, right? And it wasn't executing, so he's I think it's been moving faster though now. But
yeah, the other thing that's pretty unique to the Hawaiian market is also the Section 8 rentals. Section 8 is pretty high. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Most times when you think about, Section 8, what they pay, we have a bunch of Section 8 rentals in St. Louis, Missouri. We're getting like $700 to $800. You go look at Section 8 in Hawaii, and it's like $2,500 to $3,500, and it's like, oh my goodness, that's crazy. But that's because of the cost of real estate. I mean, it's just that much higher priced, and so even with that high Section 8 payment, it's very hard to still make something cash flow there. And but it's necessary. And correct me if I'm wrong. I've heard this, but this is not verified. But I've heard any house can be Section 8 approved. It's just based off the bedrooms. Is that correct?
That I'm not too sure. I haven't actually taken in. We bought properties with Section 8 renters in them, and but our sole intent was to sell.
Flip it, right?
Yeah, and so but I haven't really dove into that process out here, since I don't even look at cash flow properties out here. But I know that Section 8 is actually, people want Section 8 tenants out here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
we bought a property on Kalihi Street, and it's 3 stories, so it's like stair stepping down the side of a hill, and that's like 3 units, and they're all Section 8. So we're getting Section 8 on floor 1, Section 8 on floor 2, Section 8 on floor 3. It's almost like buying a triplex, but it's all one unit. I mean, it's just yeah. I mean, it's just so weird. It's like, anywhere else you would call that a triplex, but in Hawaii, it's like I bought a house and I have 3 tenants, and they're all getting different Section 8, and it's just it's so unique, man. So anyways, man, I appreciate me and you could probably sit down and talk about Hawaii and real estate all day long, but for everybody that's listening, if they want to connect, what's the best way that they can kind of reach out or follow you on social media or anything like that?
Sure. Best way is Facebook and Instagram for me. My Instagram and Facebook handles is basically my name. So Cory, Cory .Nemoto. That's Nemoto. Awesome,
man. Well, I know you're a busy guy. You got to go rehab that house that I sold you. So,
I know.
But I appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us, man, and just kind of share your knowledge about Hawaii real estate and what you've got going on. I look forward to doing more business with you, and just thank you for taking the time to sit down with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for the opportunity, RJ. You really do inspire me, man, seeing all that stuff you guys are doing. And, for your listeners, all I can say is I started from the very bottom, and I'm in very high price point markets. And sometimes I even have to stop myself and think how did I get here? And so anyone that's just starting out, it is a long journey. It was a long journey for me, even though I'm still young in my career, I feel. But anyone starting out, I think that things can happen faster than you think, and if you just got the, I guess the gumption or whatever it is to make it through, there is a bright side to this business, which is very fulfilling, like we talked about. Absolutely. And you can make very good money in this business.
Man, I just want to congratulate you. You're the second person that's ever used the word gumption on the titanium vault. I'm the only other person that's used that word, so I love it.
That's probably the second time I've ever used it.
Used the word? That's good stuff, man. All right, buddy. Well, thanks for taking the time to sit down with us, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thanks, RJ.
Thanks so much for listening to the Titanium Vault with your host, RJ Bates III. For more info and to stay up to date, visit www.podcast.thetitaniumvault.com and on facebook.com/The Titanium Vault. If you enjoyed the episode, please rate and review, and we'll catch you next time on the Titanium Vault.